Captain Mike's Rigging Station. Powered by Florida Sport Fishing TV.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Captain Mike and welcome to my rigging station. Right here, I want to remind you this is where it all happens in advance of every episode of Florida Sport Fishing TV. We spend a tremendous amount of time down here getting ready because preparation is everything, regardless if you're chasing bonefish or blue marlin. All makes a huge difference. Today, we've got a really awesome topic to discuss: sandballing snapper. Now, some of you may be thinking, what in the world is sandballing snapper? Let me explain. Of course, here in the Florida Keys and really everywhere up the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico, snapper fishing is an absolute staple. We've got yellowtail snapper, mangrove snapper, mutton snapper, and of course the extremely rare American red snapper as well. Now, here in the Keys especially, guys are really used to fishing the patch reefs for the yellowtails, or you've certainly watched us go out and fish the wrecks for the big mutton snappers. This falls in between those two arenas. It really does. We are going to be heading out and fishing a variety of spots between 70 and 90 foot on the shallow end and 100 to 120 foot on that deeper end. So in that spectrum, in that 70 to 120 is really where we're going to be focusing our efforts. And I say sandballing snapper because you just don't know which species you're going to encounter. It could be the yellowtails, but understand, and we are going after the yellowtails, but we want the flags. We want the fish that are no less than 18 to 20 inches, not those little dinky 12 to 14 inch fish that you find on the patch reefs by the millions. That's not what we're looking for. We want the mature, full-grown yellowtail. And those fish are smart, okay? We've got to be stealthy, we've got to be sneaky, and we've got to set the trap. Now, mixed in with the yellowtails, not uncommon to find big mangrove snappers and, of course, the highly prized mutton snapper as well. So we're really not going to be picky here. Whichever one of those three eats our bait, we're going to be happy. But the technique is the same, the approach is the same, the tackle is the same. We just need to be ready for everything. So let's start right at the beginning. Where are we fishing? Reef, rubble, wrecks, 70 to 120. I said it earlier, okay? That's going to be the key. Listen, if you could see the bottom, they could see you. And if they could see you, they're not biting. These big snappers are really smart. They didn't get big by being dumb. The small little juveniles, dime a dozen. The big ones didn't get big by being dumb. I can't stress that enough. So they're very spooky. They're very wary of their surroundings. They see a 39-foot CV, a giant black shadow, they're not going to eat. So we've got to fish that deeper water where we can't see the bottom and they can't see us. But we also understand that a lot of those fish, especially the bigger quality snapper, they're going to be feeding on the bottom. That's where they are, on the bottom. That's where they're comfortable. They know security is there on the bottom with the structure and the reef, and it's very challenging to get those fish to come up in the water column, right? Really challenging. So when you're going out there and you're just typically chumming. What do I mean by typically chumming? You put a chum bag, a mesh bag in the water, you take a frozen block of chum, may it be a 7-pound block, may it be a 25-pound block, you put it in the bag, it starts to dissipate and you're creating a chum slick. But picture this, you've got some current, you're in 120 feet of water, you put that chum bag in and all of that chum is just flowing down current. None of it is going to make its way to the bottom. There's so many little critters and bait fish and juvenile snappers that are just going to pick at it all throughout the water column that very rarely is any of that going to get to the bottom. That's where sandballing comes into the picture. That's the benefit. We're creating these tennis ball sized little morsels, these balls that are going to be a concoction of sand and chum, and we're going to drop it right to the bottom. And as it literally descends through the water column, the sand is going to dissipate, creates a little bit of a cloudy environment, okay, and it murkies up the water a little bit, but more importantly, it carries that scent and it carries the chum all the way to the bottom. We could even take our bait and pack it into that ball. You're going to see us do that as well and drop that down there, so this way our bait bypasses all of the smaller fish and actually ends up right on the dinner table of the big quality snapper that we're after. So big advantage. It allows us to chum really, instead of just horizontally the way you normally would, vertically throughout the water column. It allows us to get those snappers into a frenzy straight under the boat, not way back in the chum slick. Another huge advantage, okay? And it allows us to dirty up that water a little bit with the sand. It confuses the fish a little bit. We're setting a trap. That's what we're doing. Okay, that's the bottom line. However, our approach has to be incredibly stealthy because these big snappers are not dumb, okay? So we can't fish tackle that's really heavy, because even though we're chumming, even though we're, clouding up that water a little bit, we still have to fool them. And if we fish really heavy terminal tackle, they're gonna outsmart us. So the tackle is everything here. Hey guys, I'm Captain Mike and welcome to my rigging station. You've asked over and over, here's the answer. Tube row fishing. 4 different styles of rod and reel holder mounts for every application. Their ingenious lure and leader keeper system is perfect, either permanently mounted or portable. It keeps everything I need right at my fingertips so I can focus on staying hooked up. Listen, I count on Dubro products, so should you. Check out their full line of innovative gear at dubrofishing.com.
For over 80 years, Furuno Innovations have helped more fishermen find and catch more fish than any other brand. And we're raising the bar again with Navnet TZ Touch 3's new PBG and Fish It Drifted technologies. Build your own 3-dimensional shaded relief charts to find trophy fish others have missed. Perform accurate drifts the first time, every time. Be the one everyone follows. When you're serious about fishing, lead the way and get serious with Furuno.
Chaos. Gear matters.
Oh my God! Springtime permit fishing.
Fish on another one. Doubled up.
Muttons.
Woo, nice. That right there, baby, is deep dropping.
Chaos. Gear matters. Shop online or visit our new superstore for everything fishing.
Deep Glow outshines the competition. With a robust housing, durable glass dome, and stainless steel hardware, Deep Glow lights are the toughest, brightest, and easiest to install. Throw them in, plug them in, and let the show begin. I've literally created my own feeding frenzy. Residential or commercial 1 or 50 lights, Deep Glow increases property values, creates loyal customers to waterfront businesses, and provides years of trouble-free service. Tell them Captain Mike sent you and receive a free timer. All of these spots, let me tell you something, there are a lot of them, not only across the Florida Keys, all up and down the eastern seaboard, the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of spots out there. You got to do your homework. You got to get dialed in. You can't wait until you get out there to then decide, hey, where am I going to fish? Too late at that point. I've got plenty of numbers dialed into my Furuno TZ Touch network. I couldn't fish them all if I even tried. So I have a general idea where I'm gonna be heading. I know what I'm looking for when I get there. I need current, I need the wind and the current to be in the same direction. That's ideal, because if that wind and that current are opposing, what happens is you lay on the anchor this way, but your baits and your chum are going under the boat, and it becomes very challenging. So here in the Florida Keys, just as an example, the current off the edge of the reef generally runs from east to west. And at this time of the year, we generally have an easterly wind, setting the stage for perfect conditions. The boat lays just like this. We're fishing off the back of the boat. The chum is flowing off the back of the boat. The current's flowing off the back of the boat. Everything is dialed in perfectly. If you don't find ideal conditions, pick up and move, okay? Because I'm telling you, it's really challenging when that current is opposing the wind. And I think the only thing worse than that is no current at all. And you've got to have current to get these fish biting. So real important. First thing we're gonna do, we've got our spots dialed in. We know where we're fishing, okay? But we've got to catch bait. too. So you're gonna watch us on the way out. We're gonna stop and we're gonna load up on fresh ballyhoo. When it comes to targeting the snappers, the big yellowtails, the mangroves, the muttons, the one universal bait that works so well with all of those snapper, regardless of where you are in the state of Florida, is fresh ballyhoo. Doesn't have to be alive. You can butterfly them, or of course you can fish them alive. You could fish a chunk or, a plug from a ballyhoo. But fresh, that's the key. It's gotta be fresh. So we're gonna stop on the way out. We're gonna chum, we're gonna load up on ballyhoo before we head out fishing. Once we get out there, I'm gonna use my Furuno TZ Touch Network. I'm gonna keep a sharp eye on my fish finder. I wanna have situational awareness. I wanna know exactly what's going on underneath the boat. I wanna look at my chart plotter, see exactly which way I'm drifting at that point, because I'm not even set up yet. I'll very likely use my Fish It, Drift It feature to pinpoint exactly where I want to fish and exactly where I need to drop that anchor in order to come back tight on that line and end up right on the edge of that rubble or reef. Remember, I don't want to fish the backside of it. If the wreck or the reef or the rubble or the structure that I want to fish is right here, I need to set up over here and my chum flowing across it and my bait's down on the bottom. I set up over here, I'm missing the party. I'm missing the action over here. So proper positioning is everything. We're gonna load up on the bait. We're gonna run offshore. We're gonna designate or pick that first spot that we're gonna fish. We're gonna get up current, drop the anchor, okay? And I should mention this, real important. We're gonna have a couple of different anchors on the boat. We're gonna have a grapnel anchor for when we stop for ballyhoo on the rocks in the shallow 30, 35 foot area. Okay, just so we can get tight in that rock real quick, catch all of those ballyhoo. But when we move further offshore and we're fishing the rubble and we're fishing the wrecks, we need a lot more anchor line because it's a lot deeper and we're fishing a fortress, okay? It's gonna grab in that bottom the first time, every time. Big, big difference. So your boat's gotta be outfitted with 2 different anchors if you wanna do this properly and effectively. And again, that's here in the Keys. If you're able to acquire your bait in a different fashion, you can completely skip that step altogether and go right to fishing. Some of the other things I'm gonna need on the boat, landing net, gonna need multiple buckets to create these sandballs, and we're actually gonna do it 2 ways. We're gonna create sandballs with a mixture of sand and chum, and then we're gonna oat ball as well and create these balls from, I'll say, flavored oats mixed with chum, some salt water, different concoction altogether, different process, end result is the same. You end up with a ball that dissipates through the water column. Both have their pros and cons. We're gonna show you both methods. Bottom line, you need multiple buckets, you need a couple of hand towels. This is not a pretty sight. Get ready to get your hands dirty, okay? In addition to that, couple boat outfitter, little, fillet tables, bait cutting tables is gonna really make your life a lot easier. And then, of course, is the tackle, which we're gonna get into in a moment. Patience, I cannot stress this enough. Patience. Get to the spot, spend as much time as it takes to make sure you're in the proper position, because that location is vital. Once you are tight on the anchor and you put that chum bag in up on top, because you want to do that also. Even though you're sandballing, you still want to anchor up, you still want to chum up on top horizontally. And you could, if you really wanted to maximize your efforts, put some baits out on top off the ends of the riggers, even though you're anchored up. Put your outriggers out and put some live baits out there. You could fly a kite and dangle some baits from a kite. So many different things that you could do to cover that whole water column. But that's a different show altogether. We're really focused on the snapper. That's what this is all about. It's about sandballing snapper. And while I know there's a lot of other opportunity up there, okay, I'm not looking for the mackerel. I'm not looking for the sailfish. I'm not looking for the pelagics that are gonna be up here. I'm looking for what's down there. That's my whole goal. Very, very focused here. Enjoyed this episode. We talked a lot about tackle, a lot about finding these fish, staying on them. Got it. All right, all right. Nice job.
What a fish.
Oh, yeah, that's a fat one right there. That's what we want. Oh, nice one. Look at that one. Got it. Nice.
That's a tuna.
That's what it's all about, right there.
Oh my God! That's what I'm talking about.
Don't even lift and pump, just reel. Just reel. All right, come on. Somebody get in there. Crank. Got him. We got him. You ready? Nice. You got him. Get him in the boat. Ready? Oh! Put it onto your rod. You never jeopardize losing a rod, ever. Now, chum is flowing. We're going to get out there. We're going to start to create our sandballs. We're going to create another bucket with our oak balls. And we're slowly going to drop these depth charges. That's what we'll call them. These bombs, these sand bombs, off the side of the boat. We'll let them dissipate through the water. We'll let them get to the bottom. They go, whoosh, they dissipate, break up. And you've got this chum slick right on the bottom. And hopefully that fires up these big fish. Now at that point, it's time to start fishing, right? We've been set up for 15, 20 minutes. We've dropped a couple of balls. We're slowly starting to build life. I've got patience because I know this is gonna take time. The longer that I'm there, the more that life is gonna build, the more snappers I'm gonna be able to attract. So I'm in no rush. As long as I'm confident that the fish are in the area, as long as I'm confident that the conditions are right and I've got the current and the wind, I'm not going anywhere. It's not like patch reef fishing where I could see everything from top to bottom. And if I'm not getting bites, if I'm not finding what I'm looking for, 30 to 60 minutes, I'm out of there at the very most. Here, I'm willing to dedicate half a day to a spot. Literally, I'll sit there for 3-4 hours, hopefully all day, and never have to pick up that anchor once, and I'll just pick fish all day. This is not about quantity. This is not about targeting and catching, a limit of the little 12 to 14-inch yellowtails. This is about quality. It's about the flags, the big yellowtails. It's about the big mangrove snapper, and it's about the 30-inch muttons, because you never know, they may show up to the party as well. You just never know what's gonna be there, and that's why it's so important that you're ready for everything, okay? Because you don't know until you get out there what species are gonna show up. You can fish one spot today and just catch a bunch of flag yellowtails. You can go there tomorrow, do exactly the same thing and never see a single yellowtail and load up on mangroves. Go there day 3 and never get a bite. Go there day 4 and it's big muttons mixed with the tails. It happens. That's fishing. That's what makes snapper fishing so exciting, is the variety and the opportunity, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is grab some spinners, because certainly you can fish with spinners here really, really effectively, really easily. But remember that they've got to have some beef. These are not the same spinners that we're fishing on the patch reefs, because I'm not targeting those little 10, 12, 14-inch snappers. I'm looking for the big boys. So I've got to have something with a little bit more beef. This is basically just a jigging rod. It's a 6'6" spinner, but it's got tremendous power. Tremendous. I could put a lot of heat on a fish with this spinning outfit. Even if it's a big mutton, a big cobia, or any big surprises, I can handle that fish with this outfit. The reel, a Shimano Twin power, absolute Mac Daddy of spinning reels, incredibly smooth drag, a lot of line capacity, plenty of power, all really important in this fishery. Loaded with 20-pound diamond braid. Long leader, stealthy, 15 to 20 foot of 20-pound diamond presentation fluorocarbon. There it is right there. The leader is tied to the braid with a small little Alberto knot. Very streamlined, very reliable. The end of the rig is just a little VMC 3.0 sure set circle hook. Remember, not all circle hooks are created equal. Some have, they're inline, some are offset, some are real heavy gauge. You want that thin gauge hook, okay? You want that bait to be as natural as possible, but yet it's a really extra strong hook, so you don't have to worry about it straightening out. That's it. This is as stealthy as it gets. I'm gonna bury that hook in a bait. I'm gonna take that bait and put it inside a sand ball or an oat ball. I'm gonna drop it to the bottom. It's gonna hit the bottom. My bail is open, and I'm slowly gonna feed it out and pay close attention to what's happening. A fish starts running with it, I lock it up, I reel tight, I'm hooked up. There it is. It's that simple. Fresh bait is vital in today's highly pressured fisheries, and no one makes it easier to catch live bait than the Bally Hoop. With a complete line of collapsible hoop nets and accessories, the Bally Hoop is a must-have for every angler. Simply deploy the Bally Hoop and watch the magic. With the Bally Hoop, catching live bait is clean, fast, and simple. Ask for the Bally Hoop at your local tackle shop or visit us online to find a dealer near you.
Dependable terminal tackle. It's vital in every venue. That's why professional anglers targeting bonefish to blue marlin rely on Diamond Fishing products. With an extensive selection of the finest monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braided fishing line in the world, it's time you avoid the rest and rig with the best. Diamond Fishing products, the official line of Florida Sport Fishing TV, tournament-winning fishing teams, and busy charter captains from coast to coast.
Now, understand, there's gonna be times the fish are really shy. There's gonna be times that they're really aggressive. So 20-pound diamond presentation, 3.0 VMC hooks, but look, I'm ready, right? 15-pound fluorocarbon if the yellowtails come up to the boat and they're being really, really shy. If I need to scale down my hook size, I'm gonna go from 3.0 to 2.0 with the 15-pound fluoro. Nothing gets stealthier than that. If the fish are being really aggressive and maybe a little bit larger and I can bump it up a little bit, I'm gonna go 30-pound diamond presentation fluorocarbon, and I'm gonna go 5.0 sure set circle hooks, bigger snappers, bigger mangroves, yellowtails, muttons. So that setup right there is gonna keep me covered no matter what I find. And then finally, gosh, I can't stress this enough. Look, if you're going to be fishing the reefs, if you're going to be fishing for snappers down here in any circumstances whatsoever, you've got to have a variety of jigs, okay? I don't care. If you go out there reef fishing, you've got to have some 1-ounce jigs, 3/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, okay? Those are lifesavers right there. And there's times when the terminal tackle with the fish finder rigs are going to make sense and be more effective, and there's times when jig heads is all that you need in order to stay hooked up. Now understand, remember, big mutton snappers are an absolute possibility at any time. So I bring some heavier spinners as well. 6.6 jigging rod. I love the action of the jigging rods, the spinners, when I'm wreck fishing and snapper fishing. They've got plenty of backbone, but yet it's light and comfortable. It's just a real nice, versatile outfit. Shimano Twin Power 8000. Same reel I just showed you in the 5000 version, but a little bit bigger, okay? 30-pound diamond braid rather than 20-pound, and 30-pound diamond presentation fluorocarbon. So I've got the 20-pound braid with 20-pound fluoro. I've got 30-pound braid with 30-pound fluoro. And finally, in the event, which not uncommon when you're out there, even in that 70 to 90-foot depths, okay, not uncommon where you just get your clock cleaned. You drop a bait down and there's no stopping them. Everything you can do, you just can't stop that fish. That's when I also make sure I've got some 8-foot conventional outfits, 20 to 40 pound line matched to a Shimano Talica 12, 40 pound braid, 40 pound diamond presentation fluorocarbon. This is not my Yellowtail rod. This is my mutton rod. This is my grouper rod. Okay, and you just never know what you're going to encounter. And I can't stress this enough. You know, sandballing these snapper is incredibly fun, incredibly effective, and a really, really neat way to target these fish because there's so many different ways. But sandballing could perhaps be the most effective because it is so sneaky, so stealthy, and you're really pulling the wool over the fish's eyes with what you're doing by creating that chum slick, not only horizontally across the top, but also vertically through the water column, getting that feeding frenzy going on the bottom, dropping your fresh baits, I can't stress it enough, right to the bottom, and picking off those fish. You're outsmarting them. But like with all other fisheries, you've got to put in the time, you've got to make sure your boat is ready, you've got to make sure your tackle is ready. Bring backups for everything. I've showed you one rod from each setup, but I promise you there'll be multiple outfits. It's not uncommon for me to go out there with 20 rods and reels, and that's just for bottom fishing. And finally, as a reminder, never let angler failure or tackle failure enter the equation. Check your drag and check it often. Check your leaders and check them every single time. Every single time you bring up a fish, every single time you bring up a bait, feel that leader. If it's a little chafed, a little nicked, cut a foot off, retie it, okay? Take your time fighting the fish. Apply as much pressure as you can, but don't overdo it. You don't want to lose them. And when you finally get that snapper up and off the bottom, he's yours. It's game over. There's no reason to rush at that point. Enjoy the fight. Get him up next to the boat, net that fish, and get another bait down there as quickly as possible. Proper preparation, absolutely vital for success. Do it right, and you're going to stay tight.
Connect with the crew on Instagram at Florida Sport Fishing TV. Catch our extreme seminar series at www.fsftv.com and get hooked up